Hey everyone, Ben here, and this is the Simagic GT NEO wheel rim, which I've been using on my rig for several months now. Now at first glance, it can seem too good to be true, priced at just under £300 in the UK, yet with solid build quality and rich with features. But does it live up to that hype? An important notice at the outset, I have zero relationship with Simagic, the hardware manufacturer. I purchased this wheel rim with my own money after a hardware failure for my last wheelbase setup. I do though have a working relationship with one of Simagic's UK online resellers, SimHound. That includes an affiliate link which you can check out in the description below if you're looking to purchase new sim racing equipment from them. Shopping via that link costs you nothing extra, but will provide Broca Sim Racing with a small referral commission. And as an added bonus, you can get a 5% discount on whatever you buy if you use the code LeBroca5 when you check out. And for absolute clarity, none of the above has any bearing whatsoever on my reflections on this wheel in this video today. First up, for those of you looking for a 2-minute summary of whether this could be the right wheel for you after months of use, I think the Simagic GT NEO is an ideal wheel for sim racers on a budget, especially people getting into sim racing for the first time and considering entering the Simagic ecosystem. The build quality and feature list make this a very impressive piece of supposedly entry-level kit. And because it can technically be adapted for any wheelbase, it's also great for those with high-end gear from companies like Simucube or VRS and who are looking for a relatively cheap third-party wheel to pair it with. It's also ideal for those, like me, who tend to run GT and Formula racing, as the dimensions and design of the wheel are pretty versatile. That said, there are more impressive looking, sophisticated and refined wheels on the market, if you have the money to spend. Speaking of money, let's break down what you get for yours if you purchase the Simagic GT NEO. The rim itself has a width of 300mm and is made with high strength carbon fibre composites, so although the rim is lightweight, it immediately does not feel like a toy. It comes with 2 rotary thumb encoders, 2 7-way funky switches, 4 value encoders in the face of the wheel and 10 customizable RGB buttons. It also features dual clutch paddles out of the box, which I have to say was a big selling point for me. Although this is perhaps changing with newer wheels, my experience historically is that this has been something of a premium and expensive feature to find on sim racing rims, and not having the clutch paddles is at least partly why I've tended to be so bad at getting cars like the Super Formula in iRacing off the line. For any wheel rim, the quick release is also a crucial component. Any flex there will fundamentally undermine how the wheel feels when in use. Simagic rims come with a metal QR, and of course the GT NEO pairs immediately with my Simagic Alpha Mini wheelbase and works wirelessly with it. There is though full USB compatibility, so you can actually use this wheel rim on other wheelbase brands by swapping the QR out and using a MagLink cable to connect it, available from Simagic to purchase separately for around £20. But how does it look? The forged carbon design won't be to everybody's taste, but I do like the understated modern look of the wheel as a whole. Other brands have erred on the side of a more futuristic look, but I enjoy the fact that the GT NEO isn't trying to make a design statement as such, other than the fact that this is a solid, authentic looking racing wheel. It comes with an LED strip across the top which is customizable. I personally find that my eyes aren't drawn to this when in use, and more broadly, I've never felt the need for a super complex dash on my sim wheel. Due to being a content creator, I want my racing data up on screen for viewers to be able to see too. But if you're looking for that kind of feature, you will need to look at a higher price point. For me, the LED strip is just fine, and I don't think I'd miss it if it wasn't there. The wheel also comes boxed with sticker sheets, so there's no need for any extra purchases to get the wheel badged up with specific functions for individual buttons. Speaking of customization, you can make use of the backlit buttons and rotary encoders to customize the look of the wheel via settings in Sim Pro Manager. That includes the color scheme across the wheel, brightness levels, and some telemetry signals, like having specific buttons flash for things like yellow flags. And as a bonus, there are a host of pre-made profiles to draw on, specific to individual sims and car models. I believe even more customization is possible via SimHub. The wheel itself feels solid in your hands, there's no flex when driving, and overall I found the experience very comfortable. I sort of feel that any test for a controller or a wheel is that it should disappear in your hands. If it's working well, then it becomes simply an extension of you, allowing for seamless inputs and quick response times. The GT NEO passes that test. The button layout works well for my hands at least and feels very ergonomic. I can reach all of the functions I need to when I need to while racing, making multitasking much more straightforward. Because of the dimensions and style, the GT NEO works well for modern GT and Formula cars in terms of immersion, but I confess I do find it a bit strange using it in classes like the TCR, where a larger round wheel is probably more appropriate, and I can't really imagine using it for things like rally. Having watched other videos covering the GT NEO when I was considering buying mine, I have seen that the grips have been a point of contention for some. For me, they're pretty stiff, but generally okay. Bear in mind though that I was previously running a second-hand Fanatec Formula rim, which actually had no grip material at all for the best part of 2 years, so maybe my expectations are a bit too low. I also don't tend to run particularly long race sessions, preferring 20 to 30 minute ranked online races. But overall I can only speak to my experience and I haven't found the grips to be a problem in my use so far, whether wearing gloves or not. They're pretty basic, but ultimately they're functional. Perhaps the second most important part of the wheel, the shifters, are substantial, magnetic, and they feel great. And they sound pretty quiet too. The dual clutch is solid and feels comfortable too. All of the various dials and buttons also feel good, although the buttons themselves do look a little toy-like to me. That might be unfair, but aesthetically there's just something a little basic and chunky about them. It's nothing deal-breaking, I still like the way the wheel looks and feels, but it's certainly an area where I think other more expensive models can offer a bit more refinement. But overall, I found the Simagic GT NEO to be a great product for the price, and it's a highly impressive entry point to the Simagic ecosystem. I imagine it would also be an awesome option with the Maglink cable for owners of brands like Simucube looking for a cheaper rim option to pair with their high-end wheelbase. Of course, there are more sophisticated and refined options out there, but they do come at a significantly more expensive price point. Fundamentally, I think the GT NEO is designed to persuade newcomers to opt for Simagic over other brands in the fiercely competitive mid and upper mid direct drive wheel market. It's a gateway drug to get you hooked, and it's a pretty powerful one at that. After all, paired with the Simagic Alpha Mini, you're looking at a high quality direct drive wheel setup for less than £1,000, something that was unthinkable not that long ago. You can check out my reflections on the Simagic Alpha Mini in the video on screen now. And remember, if you do go on to make a purchase from SimHound, you can use my referral code in the description to help support the channel. And you can use the code Broca5 to get an extra 5% off. And I will see you on the next one.